My golden child brother got himself arrested during my wedding and later, out of anger, revealed a dark family secret that nearly destroyed my life. A few weeks before the wedding, my brother asked if he could propose during the reception. When I said no, he convinced our parents to show up at my door to yell at me. My mother went insane, threatening to destroy my fiancé's dress, but I told her I'd press charges if she did. She started crying, asking if I would really do that to her. When I said yes, she stopped crying and went back to screaming. They only left when I threatened to uninvite my brother, who then promised not to propose at the wedding. On the day of the wedding, his girlfriend showed up in white. As we were about to cut the cake, I heard her screaming yes. I turned around to see him proposing to her. He put the ring on her finger, but as soon as he did, the maid of honor spilled red wine all over them. Everything spiraled out of control. My brother was convinced we had planned the spill, thinking we wanted to embarrass him and his girlfriend. He caused a scene in front of all the guests, and my wife Amanda and I felt everyone's eyes on us. It was clear my brother couldn't let it go. He approached the maid of honor, who was already embarrassed and trying to clean up. Despite her apologies and explanations, he kept insisting she did it on purpose, yelling and cursing at her until she began to cry. More people got involved trying to calm things down. I jumped in, trying to cool things off, but it only made him louder and more upset. Suddenly he stepped up to me and shoved me. Caught off guard, I stumbled back and pushed back. Things escalated quickly, and we ended up scuffling and swinging at each other. Amanda called the police, who arrived and talked to everyone to figure out what happened. It was embarrassing to explain the fight in front of our friends and family. In the end, the police decided it was best for my brother and his girlfriend to leave the party. As they were led away, my brother kept yelling about how the maid of honor ruined their day. Although it was a relief to see him go, I felt sad because he's still my brother. The mood at the wedding was down, and many guests left, apologizing as they went. The morning after the wedding, my phone buzzed non-stop with calls from my parents, who were on vacation in Italy and had missed the wedding. My brother had already told them his side of the story. It was obvious they were on his side. He has always gotten his way as the younger brother and the baby of the family. They seemed disappointed in me and expected me to fix things. The conversation felt one-sided because they had only heard my brother's version. This was not new in our family. His word always carried more weight than mine. My parents told me to bail out my brother, who spent the night in jail after arguing with the officers and acting belligerent. They also said I needed to replace his girlfriend's wine-stained dress, which she planned to wear at their future wedding. We argued, and I brought up every time they favored him over me, but they didn't see my point. I told them how they always favored my brother since we were kids. Every Christmas, it was clear he was the favorite because he got most of the gifts while I got fewer. Whenever he messed up, I was blamed since I was the older brother and supposed to set an example. This pattern continued into our teen years. I always had to include him in everything, making it feel like I couldn't have my own life. In that conversation, I realized I couldn't do this anymore and told them to keep me out of the mess with my brother. I said they could go F off if they expected me to bail him out after he ruined my wedding. The line went silent. They said they were coming back to the US immediately and hung up. They returned that day and bailed out my brother themselves. I was in the kitchen getting breakfast ready for Amanda, still thinking about the call with my parents but pushing it aside to focus on making the morning special for her. When I walked into the bedroom with the tray, I saw Amanda sitting up with puffy eyes from crying the night before. I set the tray down and joined her on the bed, telling her about the call with my parents. She listened, still hurt from our ruined wedding night. I told her we wouldn't let them ruin today too. I placed the tray on her lap, showing her favorite breakfast pancakes, strawberries, and whipped cream. Her eyes lit up, and she smiled at me as she started eating. I told her we'd go on a shopping trip to her favorite stores. Amanda shook her head, saying she'd love that she had been eyeing a new pair of shoes since our last trip to the mall. I was determined to get them for her. We spent the morning enjoying breakfast in bed and later went out to Amanda's favorite shops. While Amanda was in the dressing room, I got a call from my brother, who was clearly drunk and started bragging. He told me our parents promised him a lot of money and valuable family property, ensuring he'd get the family inheritance, not me. I asked what he was talking about, and he said I was jealous because our parents would make sure he was set for life and nothing I did could change that. He mentioned hundreds of thousands of dollars in the trust Dad made for us, but it only had his name on it and in the will. He said he saw Dad's will and that I wouldn't get a dime. The call ended suddenly, and just as I was about to call back, Amanda came out of the dressing room. She asked if the dress made her look fat. I saw how beautiful she looked, the dress fitting her perfectly. I smiled and told her she looked stunning. I asked if she wanted that one and if she was ready to go. She said we could leave, and we did. As we drove home, Amanda seemed happier, which made me content. But my heart sank when we pulled into the driveway. My brother, his fiancée, and our parents were there. The tension was heavy as Amanda and I stepped out of the car. Immediately, they started demanding that we buy a new dress for my brother's fiancée and compensate her for the emotional damage from the wedding incident. I argued they should pay us for emotional damage. Amanda explained that my brother's fiancée wore white at our wedding and my brother made things worse by proposing, but they didn't care. My brother's fiancée took this personally and began insulting Amanda, calling her names and accusing her of orchestrating the wine spill out of jealousy. Amanda admitted to it, which was like pouring gasoline on a fire. My brother's fiancée lunged at her, and the driveway turned chaotic. Instinctively, I stepped between them, pushing her back to protect Amanda. Things quickly escalated into another fight, with my brother jumping in and swinging his fists. My dad threatened to call the police again, but that didn't stop us. Eventually, the police arrived and arrested both my brother and me. They put us in the back of a cop car and took us to the police station. On the ride there, my brother laughed. I asked what was funny since we were going to jail. He said I wasn't our parents' real child, I was the result of an affair. My real mum didn't want me, so they were stuck raising me. He called me a mistake, saying that's why I wouldn't get any inheritance. I thought he was drunk and just saying things. He asked why I had dark eyes when everyone in our family had blue or green eyes. I didn't pay attention to him. He said Grandma tried to convince our parents to put me in the system, but it was too late. I asked how long he had known, and he said he always knew they told him when he was young. Whether it was another ploy to hurt me or the truth, the news hit me hard. The cold treatment, favoritism, lack of inheritance all made sense now. They had never truly seen me as their own child. When we arrived at the police station, Amanda was there to bail me out. She signed some paperwork, and my brother remained in his cell. As I was leaving, he screamed at Amanda to get him out, but she told him to ask his fiancée. The ride home was quiet, the car's hum filling the silence. Finally, I told Amanda what my brother had confessed. She was processing everything I shared. I said I was unsure about confronting my parents, unsure of what it would change. These questions made me feel lost. Amanda reached over and held my hand, saying she would support whatever choice I thought was right. As we pulled into our driveway, I felt a weight on my shoulders, but knowing Amanda was with me made me hopeful for our future. Life has taken a brighter turn. One autumn morning, Amanda came to me with a glowing smile, holding up a positive pregnancy test. I hugged and kissed her, excited to be a father. As Amanda's pregnancy progressed, we decided to renew our vows and make new, happy wedding memories. We had a simple, intimate ceremony with close friends. The day of our vow renewal was perfect. The sun shone brightly over the beautiful garden where we stood. Amanda, radiant with her baby bump, walked down the aisle in a flowing dress. Her beauty took my breath away. Update 1 3 years later. A few months after our vow renewal, my world turned upside down again. My parents died unexpectedly in a car accident. Despite our strained relationship, I felt deep sadness and a sense of obligation to attend their funeral. Amanda joined me in support. The air was heavy at the funeral, with friends and extended family paying their respects. My brother, however, stood apart, almost satisfied that our parents were gone. He avoided looking at me, his demeanor detached. As the service proceeded, his behavior seemed out of place. I couldn't fathom his emotions. His presence felt like a dark cloud over an already grim day. After the service, I watched my brother still keeping his distance, a faint, almost smug smile on his lips. Life settled into an uneasy calm. My brother and his fiancée continued their extravagant lifestyle. Rumors spread about their financial troubles and calls to family for money. One evening, a cousin shared that they were burning through their inheritance quickly. I focused on Amanda and preparing for the baby. Their inheritance would have helped, but I didn't realize how expensive babies were until I had to prepare for one. Nesting became our shared project, painting the nursery, assembling cribs, and picking out tiny onesies and soft blankets. Out of the blue, my brother called, wanting to reconnect. His voice sounded sincere, catching me off guard. He said he regretted everything and had left his fiancée, wanting to mend our relationship. I listened, then quietly blocked his number. In our quiet home, Amanda and I chose peace. Our family, built on love, was all we needed.